Hey, what's up? This is Andrew Molz, and I'm here with Neil Hayes. And Neil is a programmatic sales director. Um, so if you're dealing with or if you're looking up programmatic media buying and how to even start or begin, or if you've read those industry buzzwords that people throw out a bunch but don't really know what the heck they're doing with, Neil is the individual who actually gets your campaigns going, get them off the ground, utilizing. Well, I'll just let you explain it best, Neil. What is it that you do for businesses and marketing departments?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Andrew. So when it comes to my role, obviously I'm a sales director. So I basically serve the SMB and mid-market space. So when advertisers, are interested in programmatic, or want a little bit more information, need to get a campaign live, I definitely help them with their needs there. And programmatic, if you guys aren't familiar, it can encapsulate a lot of different meanings in the industry. Google search is actually as a programmatic form of media. But what I do specifically is programmatic advertising when it comes to display. So a very upper funnel approach. So it essentially is it's going to help automate the decision making process of media buying in real time. So you're targeting specific audiences and demographics at the best time when they're most willing to take a conversion action. And all this we utilize with big data and AI to create efficiencies.
Gotcha. And so this is for if people are watching this and like, okay, well, can I combine this with Pinterest ads and Facebook ads? This is explain what platforms this is for, and for what kinds of markets and the marketing departments. How they utilize this on which platforms if they're a little bit fuzzy on that.
Yeah, so absolutely. Programmatic, it definitely is more of a cross-platform approach. So we essentially would fit into your marketing department in terms of, if we have an advertiser that's already running Facebook and Google search, so paid social and search, we would fit in with display. So essentially, we would launch your campaign through what's called a DSP, a demand-side platform. Now, what a DSP does is it utilizes specific audience segments. It targets them in real time. Now that could be cross-platform. That could be on someone's mobile device, Apple or Android, or even their iPad, tablet, or their desktop. So essentially, wherever this person is going to convert, that's where we're going to show them an ad. Now, we run a lot of these campaigns with a blend of prospecting, lookalike targeting, and retargeting. So each tactic really feeds off the other to create efficiencies for your campaign and ultimately show an ad to your consumer at the right time, at the right moment of ad influence. And hopefully they'll convert.
And that's so in the end part of what you mentioned is something that's, I guess, a little bit proprietary to what you work within, which is something called moment scoring that you were mentioning to me before our call. So go over that just for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to moment scoring, and we call it moment scoring, and that's really targeting somebody in their right moment of ad influence. So you and me, Andrew, we're different throughout a week's time frame. You might be more or less susceptible to convert to an ad on, let's say, a Saturday at 2 p.m. compared to a Tuesday at 2 p.m. We're just two completely different people, right?
Yeah.
And that's true for every single human. And what we do is we utilize AI and big data to basically glean, thousands of different moments, essentially, to score them positive or negative. And then, essentially our AI is going to be able to figure out, okay, I know Andrew is more susceptible to buy concert tickets at a Saturday at 2 p.m. So the system will know this information. It'll show the ad at that time frame when you're most willing to convert. Now our system, it runs 24 different AI models in real time. So if an AI model or a model isn't working, it's going to drop that and test out another. So AI is constantly testing, constantly learning to create efficiencies for your campaign.
Gotcha. It's a good explanation on what that actually is and does. What would you say is like, because again, a lot of people that are watching, they might not be on, a Coca-Cola budget or, a massive budget. So, and I think a lot of times when you hear artificial intelligence, machine learning, programmatic, I mean, these are all big words that people don't normally hear. And so they automatically think off the bat, oh, well, damn, that's going to be like $20,000 a month. I can't afford that from the get-go. But, what's the typical minimum budget that you guys typically work within?
Yeah, great question. When an advertiser comes to me and says, Neil, I've got $200, and I'm expecting a 5-to-1 return on ad spend. It definitely raises an eyebrow. I get a little skeptical, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell a client to, programmatic's not going to work for you. But it really comes down to, what are your campaign goals? What do you want to get out of this campaign at the end of the day? And we're going to back into a budget for you, or, I'm going to tell you, we do have minimums, but I like to tell a lot of my advertisers, we have performance minimums. So our minimums typically range around $3,000 per month, and up. And given that we utilize AI, the AI needs a little bit of time to glean data and learn from each consumer. So we like to run at least 3 months minimum. Obviously when it comes down to performance minimums, I just like to try to figure out what the client's end goal is. How much product do they need to sell, or how many site visitors do they currently have? What's their current sales? I like to understand all this information before I even put together a proposal or strategy, because then we can really figure out if that budget's actually going to work for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think like whenever marketing departments or business owners, they hear you say, okay, well, we can do this, this, and this. So, I mean, what's your budget? What are you working? It's like they don't want to tell you the budget because they think that if they say $10,000 and you're going to say, okay, awesome, it's going to be $10,000. So they
Right.
want to go low and say like 5,000, and then if it is 5,000, then that's all you have to work within. And then if it is on the low end of the stuff that you can work with, like on a monthly basis, that if they're on the very, very, very low end entry level of what you offer and can do, that chances are your back's going to be to the wall 30 days in it, because they're going to be saying, why haven't we generated 4x on our return on ad spend, and we're on the absolute minimum. It seems every time that those kinds of clients are typically always problematic. Not always. Sometimes they do truly just want to test the waters, but most often, they are from the get-go problematic types of clients, just because it has to work. And when you enter any
Right.
advertising is, at the end of the day, advertising is an investment, and there's no guarantees. If you run an advertisement at Super Bowl halftime and you spend $1 million, there's no guarantee that you're going to sell X amount of bags of coffee. And people always want those guarantees on their advertising dollars. And it's like, you're the professional, you run ads all the time, you pretty much know how they're going to react to consumers or whoever you're running them to, but you can't exactly say, because at the end of the day, you don't control the platforms that the ads are running, and you don't control the consumers. All you can do is put what works out there and works really well, and hope it works the way that you've seen it work before. But when you're on those low ends of the budgets, it definitely is difficult to get those case study worthy type clients that just hit a grand slam the first time that they started running them.
Right.
And the third, I say the same thing as well, actually, on the social media advertising side, for running Facebook ads or Snapchat ads, in that you do truly need a 90-day window to see how things are panning out. The first 30 days, you're gathering those data points and you're running your ads. You're seeing what works, what doesn't. The next 30 days out, you're 60 days in, you're changing your creatives and your messaging and your targeting based on all of those, based on the analysis from the first 30 days. And then that 90 days is when you start to see things working a little bit better. Hopefully you're at or higher on a break even and your ad costs and your CPAs have stabilized. So it's interesting that, you're on a different level with the programmatic, and, I do a completely kind of separate thing, but at the end of the day, it's the advertising thing, and it's still the same type of level playing field that we're both working within the confines of. Most businesses that you're with, I think, some people watching the video would wonder, do you offer white label services for what you do? Or, if they want to potentially use this cool technology that you guys leverage, would they be able to white label your services for their clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I work with clients in a lot of different ways. If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, Neil," say if they're a media agency, they have an end client, but they don't want the media agency to know that they're utilizing me, they can 100% white label me. I've had clients before that have actually given me their agency email address and made me kind of a part-time employee, and I talk directly to their clients. So that just shows the level of trust that I try to build with my clients. And then you can use us in a managed service, which means we run the campaigns for you, or a self-serve approach, which means that we would give you logins to the DSP, the demand side platform, and you would actually, as the media buyer or business owner or marketing director, would run the campaigns yourself. But obviously, we'd educate you and help you with your first setup and make sure that everything was set up for success.
Cool. I think there's a lot of people that, at least more so than programmatic or AdWords. I think there's more so Facebook ad and ad consultants that would end up watching these videos. So it's good to know that they can actually offer a different type of service to their clients. Because I do certainly know a lot of different consultants and marketers that are managing anywhere from like 50,000 to 100,000 in ad spend for their clients, and that's just on one channel with Facebook ads. And hopefully, a bit of an alarm was thrown off the other day when Facebook was completely down and nobody could log in. No, I had ads running myself, and I couldn't even go in there to turn them off. But a lot of people had dips in their revenue, and sometimes it takes that ringing of the warning bell for them to notice, like, we probably shouldn't allocate such a huge chunk of our budget to just one specific channel. We need to get a kind of a omni-channel approach to a multi-touch point campaign going on, to where we're not just relying solely on Facebook ads for the prospecting and retargeting.
Right, exactly.
What would you say are, and I'll wrap the question up, I know you've got some other calls to get on. What would you say are some industry trends that you see emerging right now, at least ways within the programmatic world, that are driving some pretty good return on ad spends?
Yeah, I think, coming down the pipe in 2019, you're going to see a lot more advertisers utilizing mobile and, creating efficiencies there when it comes to programmatic. Obviously, geofencing is big. You're going to see a lot more geofence mobile campaigns, leveraging data. And also, I've had a lot of my clients ask me about whether that be OTT or CTV. I like to call it advanced TV. Just kind of sums everything up. And that's, you can probably tell me too, Andrew, that, everybody's dropping cable. Everyone's cutting the cord. Everyone's moving more towards those, Roku devices or Amazon Prime or, Apple TV. That's a huge segment of the traditional TV linear market that's moving to online. And more these days, people are watching more video. Video is huge. So I tell every advertiser I work with, at least run some pre-roll, at least run some mid-roll, make that part of your programmatic campaign. Let's not just stick with static. So, it's good to mix it up. And obviously native is a good approach as well. If you're running more brand awareness campaigns, you want native in the mix for sure. So I think just taking into account that you need to blend a couple different tactics, especially moving into 2019, because people have less attention span than ever before. And you can attest to this. So you want to hit them quick and you want to hit them with relevant creative that's going to make an impact at the end of the day.
Well, I think that's a lot of good information for people to take and to chew on. And, if you're watching this and you're slightly inclined to possibly try using programmatic media buying, then I would for sure try and reach out to Neil and see if he's got some time on his schedule to have a conversation with you. Neil, what's your email address that people can reach you at?
Yeah, my best email address is going to be in as in Nancy Hayes, Hayes. So inhayes44@gmail.
Okay, and I'll have that on the bottom of the screen here so that people can see it as well. Well, I appreciate you taking a second out of your busy schedule to chat with me, and looking forward to seeing some of the more emerging trends that you guys kind of latch onto and programmatic and develop more in the year.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Andrew. Appreciate it.
All right, see ya.